you? Can't you play some Italian music or what? I'm Italian. Got to New Jersey with this Mitigani. Gotta do the jig over here. That's an Natasha. I need a good haircut.
Oh!
Hey! What's going on?
Mario, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
What's going on here? It looks like you just got a haircut.
I did.
But you know this is a haircutting show, right?
Yeah, but I needed to get clean for the haircutting show.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Well,
come on, let's do it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Big Wave Experience. I'm Joe, and I'm so excited because we have a really special guest in the house. He's a stand-up comedian, actor, author, Mr. Mario Bosco. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for coming. However, we have a little conundrum here. It looks like you kind of had a recently done haircut, like recently, like today recently?
Like today recently.
Oh, okay. So his, cleanup needs a cleanup, right? So we're just gonna do a little tweak here. In my profession, they always say there's always something to do. There's always something to cut, all right? So I can see the style you got. I can see the style that you got, so I think I'm just gonna find little things to do.
Okay.
But I'm really looking forward to talking to you.
Let's go.
Let's do it. So what's new? What's going on? Tell me projects. I love watching you on Growing Up Italian. I think you're hysterical. I think those guys are hysterical. A lot of fun. And I know that you did a lot of movies in the 90s. You worked with some cool people, right? You were in a Tupac movie. You were in the 54 movie with Mike Myers, right?
Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek.
I danced with Salma Hayek and Ryan Felipe.
You lived every boy's dream to dance with Salma Hayek. So what have you been working on recently?
I have a few new ones out. I have a movie called Don Q with Armand Asante. I have another movie called Errors of Comedy, which is basically a comedian that's on alcohol and drugs and has to go home, clean up to go home for Christmas. But she's not accepted in the comedy world. She's not accepted in her family life, and she's a lost cause. But she has to go home for Christmas. So it's a great thing. It's out now. I'm excited.
What's it going to be streaming on?
I think they're both on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Don Q with Armand Asante and Chris Macchio, who is an opera singer who opened for the president in DC.
Wow.
And he did the inauguration, and he's fantastic. And I'm gonna be with him in Chicago at Taylor Street Italian Festival. So I'm excited about that, because it's always a great chance to see some of the old faces.
Now, I understand that you had sort of an interesting role on The Sopranos, right? Now, you did some stand-in work, right?
I did stand-in for little AJ Soprano, Robert Isla, and I did his stand-in work. But once he got tall, I really didn't work much on it until they brought in Bobby Bacala and then his son, and Bobby Bacala Jr. And that's when I turned around and I was his stand-in. And then every so often, David Chase would throw you a little bone, a word or something in there, or I'd always ask and pest one of the producers on the show, who's Dick Van Dyke's, am I saying it right? I think it's Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke's brother. I think it was his brother, one of his young brothers, his youngest brother. And I can make a mistake of that, and I'm gonna repeat it. And I think it was Dick Van Patten, whose younger brother was an executive producer. And I kept pestering him because I worked with him on NYPD Blue. And he was like, so every day I'd be like, come on, when am I gonna get my first line? When am I getting my first line? I'm more sentimental than acting, And finally I got a little word behind this when AJ gets into a fight at the schoolyard. He gets into a fight and I get, come on AJ, let's go AJ. Just a quick one, and I ad-libbed a little bit more than I should have.
And as far as I know, talking to a lot of these guys that worked on The Sopranos, David Chase really didn't like a lot of improv and right
No,
and
he
ad
did-
libbing, right?
he
If
did.
anything, it was like the exact opposite
Yeah,
of that, right?
yeah.
Where he wanted you to stick to script.
Yep. When I worked on NYPD Blue, it was okay to ad-lib.
Right.
But when I worked with David Chase on Sopranos, nope. If you said hello, it has to stay as hello.
So we just had Artie Pasquale here, and he had said something about it being so strict with staying on script that he had this one line, and the one line was supposed to be in the card game, fold. So his scene comes up, and he says, I fold, and puts the cards down.
Oh, good.
The whole set stops, and they come up to him, and they go, yeah, Artie, it's not I fold, it's fold.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even let him continue.
Yeah,
even
because-
just putting I in there.
Because that I emphasizes more than what they want, and when a writer writes it, it's like, so as a comedian, when I write a joke, what I was taught is to write the joke as you think of it, right?
Right.
So write it. Just write the joke. Write the joke. Don't worry about anything. And then once your joke is completely written, your brain has dissolved on paper, then cut the fat.
Right.
And go around and then start trimming words. Take words, bring it closer, 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 till you have that one final joke that gets you the 15, 20-second laugh.
Right.
You know, the big laugh.
You want to hear something funny? You might appreciate this. My grandmother, my father's mother, you know, like dictionary Italian woman, you know, from Brooklyn. She always loved putting costumes on. She just did a Phyllis Diller impersonation. She always told jokes. But, you know, she was an old school Italian housewife. She took care of the kids, she took care of the family. So years later, when my grandfather passed away, she just turned around and said, I'm gonna move to Vegas and I'm gonna be a stand-up comic there. I'm gonna be a stand-up comic in Vegas.
Did she make it?
She made it.
Who was she?
Well, she didn't make it, but she did move there and she did do comedy, and she won a contest that Jerry Lewis
Wow.
actually judged, and she won the grand prize. And she had this whole thing of like being like this like dirty old lady with dirty jokes.
Is she still alive?
No, she passed away.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. But she lived a long time. Believe me, she had a good life. But she did it. She made her, you know, I think she was like 76 years old when she moved there, and she actually did it. You know, like she could say that she moved to Vegas and that she became a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
She didn't become any big famous celebrity, but
A lot of the older, I would say, Italian American comedians, I'm gonna say, they weren't Italian like the kind of Italian like a Sophia Loren Italian.
yep.
I'm saying Italian American comedian that was a housewife, who's like 4th or 5th, 6th generation Italian here.
Right.
They would do Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball,
Yep.
Phyllis Diller. They'd all act like that, and the husbands would act like Bob Hope or the Marx Brothers,
Yep.
and it was great, and I love that era. I got to meet in Hollywood one of the biggest legends of all time. I got to meet Mr. Hollywood, Mr. Television himself. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Refresh.
Milton Berle.
Ah, okay.
I got to meet the one and only Milton Berle. He made me wait almost 2 hours for him to finish lunch and a cigar to have a full picture with him.
Yeah.
Because he had to have his meal first. And
Wait, so what era was this?
this was early 2000.
Okay.
And I went there to meet, because I knew Jerry Vale hung out there. So I went to go meet Jerry Vale. And instead of meeting Jerry Vale, I recognized this guy, and he was being held up by 2 waiters, and I'm going, who is he? Who is he? Who is he? I gotta figure out who is it. He looks so familiar. And the owner goes, in Italian, he goes, "Chi sei un famoso, molto famoso nella televisione." And I said, "Who?" He goes, my name is Milton Berle. And I almost fell on the floor, and I was like, oh my God. And I wasn't a comedian, I was just an actor then.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that too, because I know that a lot of the movies that you did, you know, like just like looking at your work from the earlier days, right, the 90s.
Yeah.
They weren't really comedy movies; they were serious roles. I mean, you were in this Tupac movie,
Bullet.
right? Bullet, and you know, 54 obviously was not a comedy movie, even though it had one of the funniest comics leading the movie, Mike Myers, but it was a serious role for him.
Even when I did NYPD Blue, as much as they made my character funny and quirky, like who's the guy, he's next door, what did you see, what am I supposed to think, you know, there was a raffle going on, or even with the lines that David Milch wrote, it was always a serious thing. And when I got on the Best Damn Sports Show, period, with Tom Arnold, John Sally, John Kruk, DeMarcos Farris, when I got on this show and I was doing comedy sketches, I was lost. I was screwing up lines left and right.
But you seem like a natural funny guy though. You know, like you seem so natural doing it now.
We're natural but you know, when I go home, most comedians go home, they structured. They gotta write more jokes and they gotta watch somebody's stand-up comedy special.
Right.
I can't, because you know what it is? If I watch somebody's special, okay, it has to be somebody that interests me.
Right.
And I like all the time comedians that in the morning.
Satire.
Lenny Bruce.
Yeah, you like the satire.
Yeah, satire.
I do too.
Norton Burl, you know, the comedy of Bob Hope. So when
Right.
you take the show, when you take something like a show like, you know, morning special like now, where they're only talking about, and my comedy's about self-deprecation.
Right.
You know, me trying to get a girl, me being small, my size, my height, my weight. When I go up there and I tell my jokes, it has to be about me. So when I go out there and I go and I watch a special, you know what I watch when I go home? Cooking shows. That inspires me to write a joke because there's something there that I'll catch, you know, because I feel that if I watch your comedy special, something you may say that could affect me an Italian way, I go, oh wow, that's an idea. Now I feel like I robbed something, like
Right.
I didn't come up with that concept or the thought of the concept, the thought of mine of the
So
concept.
do you try to stay away from watching those things?
I try to stay away unless it's somebody like I really know and I just want to support to watch it. Like
But you don't try to relate to it because...
Maniscalco.
Right.
I met him in LA at the Ice House. When I walked through the door, the guy goes security goes like this. He had 4 security guards there. I was like, he goes, you can't come in, but Sebastian's here. And I'm like, okay, what does that have to do?
Yeah.
He goes, well, he's not taking pictures. He's not taking pictures? Who's asking him for a picture?
Yeah.
I like him, I
Yeah.
think he's funny. But when you get to that level where it's either the money gets to your head
Right.
or the fame gets to your head,
Right.
either or, you should always greet your fans. And
I
I can
agree.
tell you, my friend is in the
I'm
room
not in that
right now.
situation,
My
so
friend is in the room
I have no
now.
reference.
I get stuck 90% of the time wherever I'm at for pitches. 20 pitches, 5 pitches, and I don't care if I have food in my mouth, a fork in my hand, I'm always gonna stop this, and I'm always gonna take a picture. I learned that from an episode of I Love Lucy. And I Love Lucy, it had Bob Hope as a guest star, and in the game, the kid goes, Mr. Hope, sign my baseball team. And he goes, do you watch my baseball team? Yeah. Do you watch my TV show? Yeah.
I remember that one.
And the kid signs the ball, and the security goes, Mr. Hope, you must mind when everybody disturbs you. He goes, well, if I don't mind now, I'll mind when I have no fans at all. You have to love your fans because your fans are who they come to watch, and they buy your tickets. They buy your merch.
Yep.
They buy your foods. Wherever you are, they're coming after you. I get chased wherever I go for pictures and autographs, and it's like, it's what I lived for. It's my dream. But if I say no to one person, you know what happens? It's a domino effect.
Yep.
He tells 10. He tells 10, 10 tells 100.
Yeah, and then you're an a-hole.
And
Yeah.
now it's like you could be striding and you could be forcing through the roof of this building and you'll still land head down.
Yeah.
No, you gotta beat your fans. That's how you make your money.
So, I'm a huge Cobra Kai fan. I love Cobra Kai and Karate Kid. I've met Machio and William Zabka, a few times. I have pictures with them on the wall and everything. They are true fans of the fans. And they've had more success recently now than they've ever had in the past. And when you meet them in person, they love you. They really love the fans. They know that the fans made everything possible for them.
There's your one thing. Ralph Macchio, he was in the Karate Kid trilogy, right?
Right.
Okay. At one point, his career he didn't get on a sitcom that was big. He did guest appearances. His career started to stumble a little bit.
Right.
Somebody said, "No, what? Let's bring back Karate Kid in a TV show called Cobra Kai."
And he was reluctant to do that for years because he had offers for a decade or 2 decades to do it, and he always turned it down. But for some reason, I guess the timing was right.
Jason Bateman too.
Yep.
Jason Bateman, I give the same thing. He too. He had a great show. I think he was on Hogan's Hero or something like that. What was he on? He was on a show in the 80s. And then what happened?
Ozark.
Then he landed on Ozark, and he landed on something else first, another show. I forgot what's the name. Neil Patrick Harris, another one.
Yep.
You know, Doogie Howser, MD, and all that.
And then had even more success after that.
And after had more success.
Yep.
And he landed on How I Met Your Mother,
Yep.
and he landed on a lot of great sitcoms, and he's a great guy. Mario Lopez. I could name you 100 actors. They go through a period of time when they feel like their career is in the toilet and everybody's hitting the flush button.
Right.
You know, me too. I was hot. In 2000, I was very hot. I was on NYPD Blue, best damn sports show, period. I was doing movies left and right. My career, I was making money. It was great. And then guess what? You stumble. Then I got offered a couple of reality shows, and I didn't want no part of reality TV because I feel like that's the last step of your comedy or your career, show business career.
Well, you have to do it fits you, you know?
Well, I waited, and then when I started social media and I got a little bit of fame, I felt like, oh man, I turned down reality and now I'm below reality. But no, these are where your fans are.
Yep, 100%.
These are where this is the best marketing.
So I had a reality TV personality here as one of my guests. I don't want to reveal because we haven't rolled out the episodes yet. And he said a very interesting line. He said, there is nothing real about reality TV. Absolutely nothing. It's all still there, don't worry.
All right, don't take my height down.
No, you're good. It actually, I tweaked it even better than it was.
Okay, perfect.
He said there is nothing real about reality television.
There's
Absolutely nothing. He
Nothing.
said, if anything, it's more scripted and more put on than an actual scripted television show or movie.
100%.
Now what we're doing is reality, right?
Yes.
None of this is scripted. We're just 2 dudes
hanging out in a barbershop,
chopping it up in the barber chair, which is really what I wanted to create here. I wanted to create a cool, comfortable environment. I wanted to have interesting people come on. I'm huge fans of you guys. I love the shows. I love the movies. I love pop culture. If you look around the shop, I have tons of pop culture stuff everywhere. I love it. So this is a huge treat to talk to you guys here and to get to meet you.
I see you got Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, you know.
Did you ever see the movies that made us on Netflix? There's a show called The Movies That Made Us, and they give you backstories about the most iconic movies that ever came out. And 90% of them almost didn't happen because the studios were so against everything that was going on in there, and they were trying to kill the vision of the creators of it. And Forrest Gump was one of them. They actually questioned Tom Hanks' approach to the character with the way he talked and the way he carried himself. Can you imagine that they questioned?
That happens a lot in Hollywood.
That was the most brilliant performance in any movie, and these studio people weren't getting it at all.
And I'll tell you what's wrong with this business. So they want, you know, in order for a movie to sell, you have to have a top name actor. You have to have somebody with a big name, right?
Right.
Because otherwise nobody's buying a ticket to go see your movie. 1. 2, they'll waste a lot of money. And if it's your personal project, I always say, don't take a paycheck because you're taking money out of production.
Right.
Now, a lot of films, great scripts, they work a lot of money to get these scripts perfect. They get to go to film, they make the film, and then what happens? They can't afford to edit it.
Right.
So it gets thrown on the shelf for a very long time and forgotten, and then they start something else. Or they get to edit it, but they don't have enough money to post to put into production for publicity and for red carpet events and festivals.
Right.
And
so they can't go all the way with it.
Yeah, so it's like, don't start something that you personally can't finish.
So Robert Zemeckis was obviously already an accomplished producer, director who you know,
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, he did, you know, and so Forrest Gump now was another, you know, movie that was going to obviously make him a legend. And at the time, the studio was apparently very against a lot of things that were going on in the movie, and the studio wanted to cut the running sequence apparently because it was very expensive. They had to film in all these different locations all over the country. Can you imagine that movie without the running sequence? It bridges the whole movie from his whole journey through life to the end.
They make big
his
mistakes, and sometimes, you know, I was watching something that Barbara Streisand said, and she's a director. I worked with her so many times. She's great at it.
Lou Martini Jr. worked with her when he was a
I
kid.
love Lou Martini Jr.
Yeah, so he was on the show, and we talked about his time working with her when he was a child.
And
Cool.
she said that there was a scene in The Star Is Born, and this is something she directed, and it was written by her friends up in the Hollywood.
Which was actually the second version of that movie, Star Is Born.
What do you
The
mean?
Barbra Streisand
Yes,
was not even the original.
Not the original.
Yeah.
And
Which they say that was the best one though. The
Yes.
Streisand. Who was it? It was her and Chris. Right.
He just died.
Right.
So Barbra Streisand turns around and cuts out the scene where she's on the floor. I think she's naked or has a bra. She doesn't have a bra, something whatever she has on, and she's playing on the guitar, which she learned on her own.
Really?
And she learned it for the movie. Took her 6 months or a year to learn how to just do it. And she
Well, that's
cut out the
commitment.
scene where she's doing it. She's telling the guy, "Are you gonna laugh if I play this?" He goes, "No, I'm not gonna laugh." She goes, "You better not laugh. You better not make fun of what I'm playing." This that, and this is her first song, which is, I don't want to say it because I'm a bad singer, but she says the first song is the Evergreen. I think is it called Evergreen? The song. I don't know where my phone is.
I actually haven't seen that version in a long
Well,
time.
she was good. She cut out that chunk of piece, which tells the story of her fiddling with the guitar, and this is before the song had words.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Well, that's why she's Barbra Streisand, right?
but you gotta think about the scene that you wrote. Is it important enough, and if it's good enough, and if it plays a part in the story? Because if it doesn't play a part in the story, then you either add in extra money to production costs, you're adding extra time that doesn't need to be, and you could be developing a scene that's probably be like less credible to make it more credible, because that's what needs to be to tell your story.
Right. Did you see the footage of this?
I saw the footage.
Yes, the cut footage.
The cut footage. I
Yeah.
saw it, and I was like, "Why would she cut? She made a bad decision."
Was that her decision or the studio's?
No, it was her decision. She made a bad decision cutting it out, and she released the scene in the movie on like 20, 30, 40 years later, I think. Because
They did like a director's cut.
They did a director's cut, and on
Now I want to see this.
Yeah, and it's her with the guitar. She has a concert that she did, and I saw the scene through the concert where she's opening different songs of her movies that she directed and played in. Fair Lady, Funny Girl, Funny Lady, all these great movies that she
What was the one that Lou Martini Jr. was in? The one in the 60s that he did with her? I know that he did one with Mary Tyler Moore, and then he was in another movie with
That
her.
must have been either, oh my God.
This was like in the late 60s.
I gotta look
Now
it up.
he's gonna be mad at me now for forgetting when he watches
Yeah,
this.
could look it up. Don't you have your phone?
Yeah, but that takes the whole fun out of it, though.
I can't remember the one she did in the 60s, because she did a lot. 60, 61, 62, 63.
Yeah, that was her whole coming up.
And same thing with Carol Burnett. Carol Burnett, do you know the story of Lucille Ball?
Was there some connection
Yeah.
with her and Carol Burnett? I would have to imagine.
Yes, there was, but Carol Burnett was a young day player, extra, and Lucille Ball found her quirkiness that she could relate to, and that's what happened. But Lucille Ball was never supposed to be Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball went to drama school. She begged her mother to say, and that's I'm talking about the 1920s,
Right.
to go to Manhattan to a drama school, because she comes from Jamestown, New York.
Right.
Drama school. Come on, I want to go. They send the mother a letter, come pick up your daughter. She's untalented, unprofessional.
Really?
In the same school, if you see early movies of her, stories about her life in the early days, Betty Davis was in her class. They all made fun of her because she was, like, they were all brunettes and she was the first blonde. And in New York, blondes weren't really big then, you know?
Right.
Then she gets in, they send the letter. She was always doing quirky, putting on men's clothes and acting, putting makeup on, putting hats on, trying to act like, like I'm funny, whatever. She got to do something. She was a cigarette girl for Chesterfield Cigarettes. She was a model. And one day, sitting in a coffee shop, like a lot of Turner and a lot of big famous people got discovered, some woman pulled out her daughter out of this to go to Hollywood. And this agent saw her and goes, "Do you want to do it? This is a small part." And when they asked her, in the movie, she got in, she went to Hollywood to do the movie. When they said we need a girl to throw a pie at, she put her hand up. We need a girl to throw mud at, she'd put her hand up. Anytime they needed something that had to go in her face, or she had to fall or have a mud fight.
Remember that whole scene when she worked in the chocolate factory and
That
she couldn't
came
keep
from
up with
her-
it and she had to keep stuffing it in her mouth?
face. But that came from her early days in
Yeah.
the film. And she
So she found like a niche, like almost in like the vaudeville type of
a
thing, right?
vaudeville
Yeah.
comedy. She wasn't she went to drama school to do plays and do like.
But that wasn't her.
No?
Yeah, she was a natural comic,
At that era.
almost like a slapstick type of thing. Yeah.
And at that era, there were blondes and brunettes in Hollywood, and she came out
Redhead.
with in a redhead, but not red like carrot color.
Italian red,
Like
almost
a,
like
a carrot. No, like a clown hair red. Like
Oh.
like a wig, a clown wig, orange.
Yeah, but it was
kinda.
all black and white.
It
No
was
one
more
could even
orange
see
than-
anyway.
Right, but then she landed on. She got fame, and I love Lucille Ball. That's who I relate to.
Yeah, my mom is a huge fan. Lucille Ball, Judy Garland,
Carol Burnett has.
Cara Burnett, yeah, Phyllis Diller.
Oh my God.
And then like from a, I think like my mom's a singer too. My mom was a recording artist in the '60s for Jubilee Records.
Oh wow, what's her name?
Well, her name was Renee Sinclair that they named her, but her name was Phyllis Belfiore. Couldn't, you know, that was way too
Well,
ethnic.
they all had different names.
They would give you some generic name.
We
but,
just lost the great Connie Francis. I have.
So
pictures.
I was just gonna get to that. So my mom knew Connie Francis because they were both recording artists around the same time. Connie Francis was older than her. Connie Francis did that very girl group type of thing in the early '60s.
Where the boys are.
Right. So recently, there was a song that went viral on TikTok, and it wasn't even one of her hits. It was an early Connie Francis song from the '60s. I forgot. It was like "Pretty Girl," I think it was called,
Pretty
or something.
Girl, Pretty Girl.
So it wasn't even one of her hits, but
And
somehow somebody used it on a TikTok video, caught wildfire online, and I think it got millions and millions of views. People were putting them in TikTok.
Was she dead yet?
She wasn't dead yet. She was alive.
Okay.
So I called my mom and I said, "Have you heard about this Connie Francis song that went like viral on TikTok?" And she said, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, it got like 10 million views or 100 million views, something crazy." I'm like, "So is she gonna get paid for this?" And my mom's like, "Probably not." And I'm like,
No.
I'm like, "Yeah, but I mean," and she's like, "No, you don't understand. Like back then, like no one had deals back
Nobody
then.
had contracts.
You
Nobody
got
had deals.
paid to sing, and that was it."
That's
I'm like,
it.
"Yeah, but at this point now, things have changed. Like, if I would imagine she would try to lawyer up or something. Like, they're using her likeness, her voice, right? I mean, like, those things are always open to renegotiate, right?"
They would negotiate.
And then she passed away like months later.
They would negotiate years later. Like I'm talking about when they said like an album guy would say we want to re-release Connie Francis's Where the Boys Are. So they would renegotiate for more money. Same thing with Sopranos. When HBO came out in Sopranos, there was no residuals.
Right.
Nobody in the third or fourth
And that was
season,
more recent times too.
and that
Yeah.
was in the early 2000s. In the
Right.
more recent seasons, like I'm talking about the older, like the third, fourth, fifth, 60th season, that's when they started saying, okay, HBO has to give out residuals. SAG
Right.
after, because I'm a SAG after actor, said you have to have residuals for these people. You can't just do a buyout.
Right.
They would do a buyout contract. They would give you whatever for the role, a day, maybe. If the role was $850, they would give him $1850.
Right.
And they would be, and that's all. They would never see.
And that would be like a
because you
one-time
wouldn't-
payout
like
and
Artie
goodbye.
Pasquale, let's say, I'll give you that example. He wasn't like under Feeney where he had points on the project.
Right.
So if you had points, every time they buy the DVD, every time they buy the merch, every time they buy the whatever they bought with him
Right.
in it,
Back end.
he would get a back end check
Right.
for X amount of dollars.
Right.
I just released a song. I released 2 songs. I released one, both through Grown Up Italian. One is a Christmas song. I Just Want a Panettone for Christmas came out last December. And April 12th, Grown Up Italian released a song called Giannis.
And where can we find this? Is it streaming?
iTunes Music,
Apple Music, Spotify.
Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you listen to your music. Giannis, Yanis. Just get it. It's a dance beat. And this is, real quick, a mistake that I made. So I meant to say the word anise, anise, meaning pineapple, because this conflicts came that in an afternoon I was in Little Italy at Cafe Palermo, and my friend Rocco orders a cappuccino at 2:30 in the afternoon. I said to him, in Italy, they will throw you out on your head. There's no way after 11 o'clock, 11:50, no more cappuccino. You could have an espresso, but you can't have a cappuccino. I said, it's like putting pineapple on pizza. And I said, instead of saying anise or anas or whatever, I said Giannis. And the guy looked at me across Sabino looked at me and he was like, what? I was like, Giannis. It's like putting Giannis on pizza. I swear to you, I don't know what struck, what I did. The thing took off like a bottle rocket, like.
So you created a word on accident.
On accident.
And it turned into a whole meme.
And it turned it not only to a meme, that it created mayhem. I get stopped for that song everywhere. And they're like, and I didn't know like the song came out till, because I had seen previews and they were coming out. They were like, we're gonna do this. I was like, and I said to Sabino, don't do this. Come on, people, it's a joke. If people are gonna laugh, they're gonna make fun of me. You know, it's one of the hottest things out there.
Unbelievable.
And I was like, what? And I was, and I mistakenly, and my cousin's Paul Greek, and I was like, I should have asked him before what it meant, and I think Giannis, I'm not gonna say, means Greek and John in Greek. I think Giannis or Yanni, which means like Yanni and Giannis. I don't know. And I don't know where I got the word pineapple is Giannis, but let me tell you something. It was the best, and Big Joe Gambino says it clearly. It was something that you did accidentally with no force. That just
that's it. It's when you don't force it.
When you don't force it, and it happened. It's like hitting in a casino.
Yep.
Not knowing what you're playing.
Right.
What buttons to hit, and all of a sudden,
it's like throwing shit at the wall, basically. Yeah.
I threw shit at the wall, and I don't know.
And you struck gold.
I struck beyond gold.
Unbelievable. All right, so I'm gonna show you the cut. All right, just because.
How's my neck?
I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
You tell me.
Oh.
So all I did was just kind of even out the top a little bit, but I left all the length that was there, okay?
Right.
And I just trimmed around your ears a little bit. Neck looks good. There's really not much else I could do there.
Nose trim?
You want a nose trim? This is going to be the first nose trim on the Bigwavepodcast.
Oh, okay, let's go.
Don't sneeze on me. You can hold a straight face?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I like it.
Oh, and by the way, I just want to mention too, I mentioned this just for an every show. We carry Slick Gorilla products exclusively here.
I love Gorilla's products.
For your hair, I use Light Work, okay?
Light Work.
It's a very light matte paste, and it's good for spiky haircuts like this. They also have a sea salt spray, which is not really what you want to use for this cut. This is more for like curly wavy hair.
Yeah, when
just
I
FYI, Slick Gorilla.
So Gorilla, Gorilla sponsor us. Gorilla, come on, Gorilla. You know we have the products here. You see them on camera. Come on, there you go. You know what you gotta do, and make sure you. Not only that, come get your hair cut right here, Giuseppe. Big Wave Barbershop.
I really appreciate you coming here. I had a great time talking to you, and what can I say? Thank you so much.
Get the hell out of my shop.
Now get out of here with your secondary haircut. Take care, guys.